Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Okay. All right. Let me send you.
Okay.
Okay. Wait. Well, do we have a lag?
No, I think so. I don't think so.
Okay. Cool. All right. Let me just send you the meeting minutes. And should you need them, here are the meeting guides. And I see you. Okay.
Yeah, so I was just looking at Actiom.com. I noticed it says we can't connect to that server. So
yeah,
do you know about that?
Yes, I do. I have already transferred the domain name from Bluehost to AWS.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for adjusting the camera angle.
Yeah, I need to push it away from me, but I also need to type right now. So.
Yeah. Okay. I like your. It's a very neat. Maybe it's for interview. Your shirt. It's looks pretty good.
Yeah, I like this shirt.
Yeah. Suits you very well. Okay. Oh yeah. So. Checking around administrative concerns. What's your time schedule today for this meeting?
So today, I think I can potentially until 10 o'clock. So I'm in a McDonald's.
Okay.
So the McDonald's will close at 10, but
okay.
I'm pretty good until then.
Okay, so it's 2 hours or 1 hour or 3 hours?
That's 2 hours because it's 8 now.
Okay,
yeah.
Sounds good. For me, yeah, it's about the same. All right, and usually we would have part 1 first, and have a special request to go through part 2 so that we can process our stuff, and then we can come back to part 1. Will that work for you?
That works for me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here you go. You have the meeting.
Okay. Let me read through what you have here on the minutes already. Okay. All right. Let's go. So we have a governance meeting. So let's get on it.
Yeah.
Okay, and before I forget, I have an administrative concern as well. So I think I probably let you know in emails already, but I probably will be going back to San Francisco. Probably it could be as early as this week, but it will be next week, probably early next week.
Okay.
But anyway, I will let you know if my charts are finalized.
Okay. Well, we can figure out when to meet next at the end of today's meeting. Let me just add an agenda so that we remember.
Okay, good idea.
Okay, it's done.
Okay, all right. So okay, so we're in a governance meeting. We have a lead link about the Toolmaster role. Can you tell us about this?
Yes. So last time we proposed the Toolmaster role, and I feel there should be more to this role than what this role currently captures. So this role should fulfill more accountabilities. And I propose to add to the Toolmaster role this domain called tool usage guidelines. So this Toolmaster, he is responsible for crafting and maintaining and publishing this tool usage guidelines. So all the other circle members know clearly how to best use these tools. It's like a set of common standard for people to see. So if
Okay.
And so this role's accountabilities are the first one I want to add is publishing and updating guidelines for using our tools. And the second is supervising consistent tool usage. So this means that he will kind of monitor how we are using these tools and make sure that it's like writing the same code in like Google. Its code, it appears as if one person wrote it. So it's like when people use the same set of tools, it's just neat. So it's so that's this circle's this role's job to do that. And also one more is teaching circle members on how to best use our tools. So there will be a lot of interaction between this role and other roles on how best to use our tools.
Okay, all right. Okay, let me see if there's any fun questions.
Yep.
Okay, no clarifying questions. Okay, so let's have a reaction round. I think this is good. Seems good for me. I think it's good to make it more clear. So yeah, and I think these are all part of the Toolmaster role, because choosing the tools is part of it, but if the tools that we choose are not used, then that's no good. So these things should together, basically choosing the tools and then also making sure the tools are used. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So okay. Is there anything you want to change or amend in your proposal?
There's nothing I want to change for now.
Okay, then we'll go to the objection round. I don't have any objections, so I think the motion passes.
Okay, let me just modify this role on our Glassfrog as the secretary, please.
Okay. I was just about to ask you to do that.
And it's done.
Okay, great. All right, let's see what we have on our agenda. Okay, so this is another attention from the lead bank. One role needs to manage our AWS organization.
Yes, so now that we have moved to AWS, actually we were using Bluehost, and the lead link was implicitly managing Bluehost. And now that we are moving to AWS, it has this AWS organization, which is very helpful for managing the tech team. And yeah, so basically, it's a consistent activity. So this means that it's best to capture it on our Glassfrog. And I feel the best role for that is the Yoda role. And I propose that we add to the Yoda role two domains. One is the AWS organization. So he is responsible to managing the AWS organization. And then also another accountability, which is called AWS excluding domain names, budgeting and billing. This means all the servers on AWS except domain names, budgeting and billing. So yeah. And its additional accountabilities are managing AWS organizations, accounts, units, and policies. Oh, there's a typo. Units and policies. And second, change building Actiom's tech platform, improve it into building and maintaining Actiom's technology platform. So that means this role will be maintaining AWS and the servers and etc. And last is proposing and keeping technological budgets. So this role will kind of propose what technology we need and its associated budgets, and also keeping track so that we don't go over our budget technologically.
Okay, all right. See again if there are any clarifying questions here. Okay, no questions.
I like when there's no question. Sorry for the crosstalk.
And reactions. Yeah, I think this is good too. So yeah, I can't think of anything to improve. So I think it's good for me. So yeah. So again, is there anything you want to change about this proposal?
I feel it's good for now.
Okay, then there are no objections. So
okay. Let me just modify that role as the secretary.
Okay. And then as the lead link also, since you set up the AWS organization, you can also let me know what you need from me, and then you can make those changes so that I can have access to that.
Yes, I've already added this agenda item for a tactical meeting next.
Oh, great.
And it's done.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so let me ask if there's any other agenda for our governance meeting.
No, from me.
Okay. And, I don't think I have anything either. There is one thing. I'm not sure if this is already on Glassfrog, but the GitHub should be the domain also of the Yoda role, I think.
Oh, sure. Yes.
I'm not sure if we have that explicitly in there or not.
I don't think we have it. I don't think the Yoda role has the GitHub as its domain, or it contains anything, or any accountability has anything to do with GitHub.
Yeah. Okay. So so let me create a proposal to do that.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, since you're the secretary, I think you already have the meeting open in Glassfrog. But yeah, just a proposal to add the GitHub domain, and also maybe an accountability for keeping our open source software published and up to date on GitHub.
Okay. Wait, could you say it again? Could you be specific?
Yeah, sure. So for the domain, add the GitHub, the project Actiom account, the GitHub group account.
GitHub project action account. Okay.
And for the accountability, maintaining, keeping our open source code and up to date on GitHub.
Keeping our open source code up to date. Let me just check. Let me check whether it's the right organization, GitHub organization. I forgot. I register several GitHub organizations, so I just need to make sure with it. Oh yeah, it's right. Project Action. Yeah, it's correct.
Action, yeah.
Cool. Yep. Okay, I have captured the this tentative proposal on Google Drive, our meeting.
Oh, okay, on the meeting minutes. Okay.
Yeah, meeting minutes.
Let me look at that. Yeah, I heard you typing, but I was looking on Glassfrog and I didn't see anything. So, okay, so this is our proposal. Where did it go? Here it is. Okay, yeah. Okay, so reactions, clarifying questions. Are there any clarifying questions first?
I have no clarifying questions.
Okay, then reaction round.
Yes. So I feel, because right now the lead link is managing access permissions. Do you want should the Yoda role also manage access permissions, like for tech or how would it work? Because
well, I think right now the Yoda role can add people to the GitHub team.
Okay.
But that's not what I actually meant. What I actually meant was basically just like what the Yoda role is already doing about like basically putting code on GitHub.
Okay.
I thought it's good to make that explicit.
Okay.
I think the way that it is right now is that, and I think the way it normally works is in GitHub. I think that both your account and my account are equal owners of the GitHub project account.
Yeah.
So we can both add and remove other people, I believe.
Can we add or remove each other? Like, can you
I don't know.
Well,
I'm sure that you can, because you set the account up.
Okay.
So you would still be like the ultimate owner, but okay. I would be able to add other people. I don't know how that.
Okay.
I don't know what the limits of that are, but let me see if I can.
How about, no, I'm asking because the domain GitHub project action account is vague, yet it pertains to everything involved with our GitHub project action account. So if the Yoda role only deals with the code, maybe it's best to say it's code on our GitHub project action account. Or if the Yoda also deals with the tech team, then it's pretty much, in that case, how do we less or if the Yoda deals with everything except the booting people, like accepting having the ultimate say, then we have to specify, say, GitHub project action account less the super admin booting or whatever the right. So that's clearer than what it currently is. That's my reaction.
Okay. Let me look for a moment. I'm looking at the settings here. Okay, yeah, actually, I'm not sure exactly how GitHub sets this up, but yeah, let's just say the GitHub project account, except for the membership.
Okay.
So
Yes. That's the membership.
yeah.
Membership. Okay. This seems to be clear, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Okay. So since we've modified it, we can have another reaction round.
So this means the lead link is responsible to adding or removing and organizing the team structure on GitHub. It works for now. Yes. Yeah, it works.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see. Are there any objections?
No objections from me.
Okay. So, Secretary, if you would update that.
Okay. Yoda is a big role.
Yes. Yoda's so small and so green, but you never know.
Yeah. Okay, it's done.
Okay. All right. So, is there anything else from you for a governance meeting?
Nope.
Okay. Then let's move right on.
Okay.
To a meeting. Let's check the time. It's okay. We're only 20 minutes in, so we're still pretty good.
Yep.
All right, so a tactical meeting. Okay, so weekly checklist.
Oh yeah.
Let me bring up Asana. Okay, good. Navigation improvements. Okay. All right, so let's see some of the projects we have here. We have next person found. Any updates on that project?
Wait, are we still on the weekly checklist and metrics, or are we on the project updates? Sorry.
Oh, maybe I skipped some of the metrics. Yeah, let's do the metrics. Yeah, we have. Go ahead.
Yeah, I put my project update in the wrong section, so maybe that's what confused you. So, okay. Oh yeah. So yeah. Let me send you the link to where we capture our checklist items and metrics. 1 second. As the secretary.
Oh, do we have all those in one place?
Yes, it's on Glassfrog.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we have, okay. Okay, so we only have one checklist item here, but that's, okay, so yeah, so did we update the meeting minutes from our last meeting on YouTube and Google Docs?
Yes, I did. We did.
Okay, all right. Okay, so that's our checklist.
And the metric is right next to the checklist tab on Glassfrog.
Oh, yes. Okay, so we have metrics. So we still have our one metric. So that's you, the lead link, financial projection.
So I
the
think,
link. Where does this link go?
yeah. So ETH price has dropped by 30%. So it's like 4 months. We have 4 months left.
Okay, that's pretty volatile.
Yeah, very.
Okay. All right. Now let's go on to project updates. Okay. So the next person found. Do we have any updates on that?
Yes, I talked to 2 people. One was my old classmate from Germany. She studied Chinese culture in Taiwan, and now she's working in Beijing. And we met in Shanghai last week. Yeah.
Okay.
Her name is Anya, and I talked to her because I think we really need someone to help with keeping everything in order and super neat and stuff before we find a marketing person. Oh, sorry, it's just a project update, so I should just tell what happened. So we talked, we connected, and yeah, and I'm not supposed to even say what will happen next. So that's right. So in this round, it's only update. So I talked to her, and I also talked to another girl, so she is more into the marketing, and she's junior marketer. So, and that's it.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay. And then, what other projects do we have? Let's see. We have. Okay, we have Actiom.com 1.0 that's done. Updates to be made on the website, but we have the early version is up. So that's that. Then on the blockchain curriculum, I have a quick update on that, which is just that I've been doing a lot more research, so I have again a kind of growing list. So I have about 1,000. I have about 1,000 PDFs that are not all related to the blockchain training curriculum, but certain of them are. So I would say probably 20 or 30 will finally make the cut. But anyway, so that's.
Facilitator, I'm unsure whether, because we've had some email communication, so I'm not sure whether I should also give my update about the Actiom 1.0 completed project, or I should skip it. What do you think, facilitator?
Sure. If
okay.
Okay. Because I don't know what you have to say, so go ahead.
All right. Oh yeah. So my update for that project, just I've set up our AWS account and organization, set up that, and also I rewrote action theory a little bit because I recognize that you have improved my wording for the website, and I thought it was good. So you prompt me to kind of rewrote based on what I've learned in the past few months. And also I've transferred Actiom.com from Bluehost to AWS.
Which is why it wasn't up to date. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, great. Okay, any other updates, project updates from you?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, let's get into our agenda. So, okay, so the first one from the Toolmaster role is about blockchain training program.
Yes. Yoda, could you share the blockchain training program on our Google Drive and on GitHub, because we're using Google Drive and GitHub as the holding place for documentation sharing. So.
Okay, yeah, the PDFs I probably cannot share because of copyright reasons, unless we do it privately. But the list I can put on Google Drive.
Okay, and for Google, okay, sounds good. And I wonder where we should put these training, which folder? Maybe So the training is mainly is it loud for you? Do you hear
the noise? I hear the noise. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
It a vacuum?
It's a fruit blender, or it's a,
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, and yeah, maybe we can put in. I wonder. So action game, no product development, maybe in operations, maybe in brand assets. But brand assets is like logos and stuff. Perhaps we can rename operations training. Operation, does training fall under operations? Yeah. Do you think?
Let me give that some thought first, because I'm not sure what form the training material will take. I don't know if it will be easy to integrate in Google Drive, or if it might work better on the website or on Github.
Okay, sounds good.
Depending on what form it takes.
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, let's what's the next action?
I think probably the next action is put together that list in it, because right now it's like it's in my hard drive and it's in my notebooks, but probably put together a list in a text format, and then probably put it on GitHub first, and then we can figure out how we want to edit the rest of the other things, the website or.
Okay. Oh, let me just add that next action for the Yoda row. Yeah, on Asana.
Okay.
Together a list. That's good. Discuss with lead link or Toolmaster. Let me check. Who is in charge of Google Drive? Toolmaster. Tool usage guides. It should be Toolmaster. Yes, tool usage. Right. So discuss with Toolmaster. Master where best to retain these training materials, and assign to Michael. Okay, it's done.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I see that. Good. Okay. Okay, so moving on, we have okay, the account email. So that's the same. That should be the same email. nmno@nmno.org.
Okay, let me just let me invite you right now.
Okay.
Invitations. Okay, I have just invited inimino@inimino.org to the AWS organization.
Okay. Okay, now reply at amazon.com. Your AWS account has been invited to join AWS organization. To view, click this link. We sign into AWS. Oh yeah. Mhm. Okay, so it says invitations. You have no pending invitations,
Okay.
but
Uh,
did it work or did it just?
I don't yet see.
Okay, let me check if that email address is really the email address on my.
Okay.
Because that was not the one that I just had to use to log in, but I don't know if that's in all of my account or if it's not an account at all.
Okay, sounds good.
Contact. Well, okay, let me give you another email address. It's here.
Where did you type the?
Hang on a minute. Communications. Yeah, I think I'll just. You can invite this other email address.
Okay.
I'll type it. I'll type it in Zoom.
Okay. Okay. Let me try. Yep. Invitation sent.
Okay. Okay, good. I got another email from Amazon. Let's try this one again. Invitations. Okay. Accept. So let me see what this says. Okay. You can only join one organization at a time. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's right. Every account can only be in one, or one account can only be in one organization. It's one of their rules.
Okay, then maybe I need to create a new account to join this.
Okay.
Instead of joining with my my existing account.
Okay.
I'll try this.
I'll be back.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure how long this is going to take. Okay. Oh, wow, okay. I have to remember this phone number. All right, my phone is booting, but that may take some time. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So let's come back to this. Let's see where we're in the meeting. Okay, AWS account. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Okay. Next, nimsys.com.
Yeah. So a friend of mine whom I met on one of the meetup events, he sent me this project, and there are they want to build a UBI, universal basic income. And yeah, we talk a lot about UBI, and finally, I think I basically, there's this one person called Jordan Peterson, and right now he's quite famous because of the things he's saying on the internet. And he has personally helped me formulate a lot of the ideas which I had trouble formulating. And yeah, I'll tell you more about him in our free flow meeting. But basically, there's this video in which he talks about why UBI won't work. Like, we can't just give money to people and hope that they will become a better version of themselves. So basically, if we give money to people, then they will think it's difficult to explain. I think yeah, he explains it very well in the video. And let me check just how long this video is. Oh, it's only 8 minutes. So yeah, maybe you already know. So but yeah, that's just what I want to say. So okay, if you want to watch or not.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I watch it right now? Will it bore you?
Not at all. I will watch it again too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky was a big influence on Nietzsche. And it's very interesting to read them in parallel, because Dostoevsky is, of course, a dramatist and Nietzsche is a philosopher. And it's almost as if Dostoevsky wrote the drama and Nietzsche provided the philosophical commentary. They're very, very powerful to read together. This is from Notes from Underground. It's a very short book about this character who is a bureaucrat, nasty sort of bureaucrat. He knows he's a nasty sort of bureaucrat. All he does, he spends his whole life trying to make life more miserable for people because he's so resentful and crushed and weak. And so he just did nothing but abuse his bureaucratic position and used his trivial bit of power to lord it over people. He gets a little bit of inheritance and quits. And this is his confession, Notes from Underground. He's the brown man. It's a brilliant book. It's viciously funny, and it's so psychologically alive. If you're interested in psychology, it's a spectacular book. It's only about 100 pages long. Anyways, he's arrogant and nihilistic and resentful. What he does is he tries to justify his life to himself and does a very poor job of it. Even though he can be honest, there's a lot of honesty in it. At one point, he meets a woman who's been forced out onto the streets because there weren't very many options for women in the Victorian period who had fallen afoul of economic necessity. And he basically, in a fit of false messianism, offers to save her, which he can't because he's completely useless. He can't save himself even, but he offers to save her, and she more or less accepts. And then when she shows up, having sacrificed a tremendous amount to do so, he basically tells her that he was toying with her and joking, and makes her situation far worse than it was to begin with. It's a brilliant book. Because you see, he repents, and he says what he's like. He's this horrible person. He knows it, weak and resentful. And then he confesses, and then he says, well, now I've confessed, I'm a better person. Then he tries to do something good, but he hasn't changed a bloody bit, not a bit. The confession was just to make himself feel better. And so he offers to help someone and pulls them right right under the water where they drown. It's an amazing book. And this is from Notes from Underground. In short, one may say anything about the history of the world, anything that might enter the most disordered imagination. The only thing one can't say is that it's rational. The very word sticks in one's throat. This is a good example of the existential criticism of the idea of rationality. Dostoevsky says, well, lots of things operate according to rational principles. But let's think about history for a minute. Actually, from the perspective of a thinking and feeling being, history is a slaughterhouse. It's a catastrophe. And how would you ever consider that something rational? Dostoevsky's point is rationality fails in its analysis of something as complex and terrible as history. The only thing one can't say is that it's rational. The very word sticks in one's throat. In short, one may, and indeed, this is the odd thing that is continually happening. There are continually turning up in life moral and rational persons, sages in love of humanity, who make it their object to live morally and rationally as possible. So to be, so to speak, a light to their neighbors, simply in order to show them that it is possible to live morally and rationally in this world. And yet we all know that those very people sooner or later have been false to themselves, playing some queer trick, often a most unseemly one. Now I ask you, what can be expected of man since he is a being endowed with such strange qualities? This is a criticism of utopianism. That's what he's trying to do, right? Because the utopian ideas were starting to emerge in Russia at about this point in the 1880s. The idea that you could reorganize society so that material privation would disappear, and that as a consequence, the paradise would be ushered in. Well, Dostoevsky was no fool. He knew perfectly well, A, that that was never going to happen, but even more importantly, that if you gave people exactly what they wanted, even what they needed, there's no reason whatsoever to presume that that would make them any more sane than they already are. Now, and he takes that further because he says, well, you can give people cake and material goods until they're satiated, and they'll still be ungrateful and insane. And you might think, well, that's pessimistic, but then he says, well, wait a minute, what makes you think that that insanity isn't exactly what's valuable about people? What makes you think you would ever want to take that away? And that's the case that he makes. Shower upon him every earthly blessing. Drown him in a sea of happiness so that nothing but bubbles of bliss can be seen on the surface. Give him economic prosperity, such that he should have nothing else to do but sleep, eat cakes, and busy himself with the continuation of his species. And even then, out of sheer ingratitude, man would play you some nasty trick. He would even risk his cakes and would deliberately desire the most fatal rubbish, the most uneconomical absurdity, simply to introduce into all this positive good sense his fatal, fantastic element. It is just his fantastic dreams, his vulgar folly, that he will desire to retain, simply in order to prove to himself, as though that were so necessary, that men are still men, and not the keys of a piano, which the laws of nature threaten to control, so completely that soon one will be able to desire nothing but calendar. And that is not all. Even if man really were nothing but a piano key, even if this was proved to him by natural science and mathematics, even then he would not become reasonable, but would purposely do something perverse out of ingratitude, simply to gain his point. And if he does not find means, he will contrive destruction and chaos, will contrive suffering of all sorts, just to gain his point. He will launch a curse upon the world. And as man is the only animal that can curse, it's his privilege, the primary distinction between him and other animals. Maybe by his curse alone he will attain his object. That is, to convince himself that he's a man and not a piano key. And if you say that all of this too can be calculated and tabulated, chaos and darkness and curses, so that the mere possibility of calculating it all beforehand would stop it all, and reason would reassert itself, then man would purposely go mad in order to be rid of reason, gain his point. I believe in it. I answer for it. For the whole man really seems to consist in nothing but proving to himself every minute that he's a man and not a piano key. It might be at the cost of his skin, it might be by cannibalism. And this being so, can one help being tempted to rejoice that it has not yet come off, and that desire still depends on something we don't know? You will scream at me, that is, if you condescend to do so, that no one is touching my free will, that all they're concerned with is that my will should of its own free will coincide with my own normal interests, with the laws of nature and arithmetic. Good heavens, gentlemen, what sort of free will is left when we come to tabulation and arithmetic, when it will all be a matter of twice 2 makes 4. Twice 2 makes 4 without my will, as if free will meant that. It's brilliant, I think. It's one of the most remarkable criticisms of utopianism I've ever read. It's like, and it's so intelligent. It's like, what makes you think that if you had everything you asked for, that would satisfy you? What if being dissatisfied is part of what satisfies you? What if the fact that you have to have limits and need them, and that there's an element of insanity in the world, and that there's an element of insecurity and vulnerability? What if that's what you need? What if it's what you want? What if that's what gives your life meaning? You're going to be like a lion after it's eaten a zebra and do nothing but sleep. That hardly constitutes the appropriate human paradise. What makes people think that merely providing economic security would be sufficient? Who wants that? It's what you offer a cow in its pen so that it remains calm and fat. It's not something for human beings. And that's Nietzsche's fundamental point. And he formulated that 40 years before the damn Soviet Revolution, when that sort of utopianism was put into practice with absolutely catastrophic consequences.
Okay. Yeah, I just watched it.
Yeah, I could hear it through the mic. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah. So he provides arguments, which made me think about Actiom again. So it's I suppose I don't know. I don't know. It's like that's the huge uncertainty with whether what we're building is actually will be something useful. It's, of course, there is a possibility that it will be useful, and there's also this uncertainty that whether it will be really what we intended. But interesting. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to persist and find out. I suppose Actiom is not really a UBI. It's something different. It still gives people the option or the choice, to about what they think is valuable. Rather than giving people what we think they need, it's giving people the choice to figure out what they need for themselves. It's yeah, I suppose that's the difference between Actiom and simple UBI. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there have been so many attempts at utopian communities and systems. So I think that no matter what we try, there's a long way from here to even an attempt at a utopia. So
yeah.
And then if we get there, then we have to do Dostoevsky's Mad Men.
Yeah. Oh
I
well.
don't want a utopia, damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a long way before we have to deal with that. So
that's a good point. Yep. All right. Okay, so that's kind of my my.
I like the way that guy talks. He's
yeah.
he's an engaging speaker.
Yeah, he is a clinical psychiatrist and also a psychology professor at University of Toronto, maybe. So and I can't help myself but watching his video for the past week. So I kind of try to absorb as much as I could about what he says, and it has helped me a lot, I feel. So yep. But anyway, so that's my counter argument to project nemesis.com. So
Yeah, the thing that impressed me the most about Nemesis was their marketing, which I thought was actually was very utopian. So that's an appropriate counter argument. But yeah, they're building a religion, so it's.
Yeah. They say religion is religion makes a lot of money. Yeah, it's actually the best money making enterprise.
I think that was L. Ron Hubbard who figured that out, and then he started Scientology. It turns out that particular religion is one of the best businesses of any religion.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Good. All right, and yeah, I guess I've said everything I want about this agenda item.
Okay. All right. Yeah, the only thing I wanted to comment on about Nimsies was just their marketing, because I thought it was on the one hand it's a little bit too extreme, because it really is like the creating religion. So I it would be tough for them to live up to their marketing. But
Yeah, I just want to.
that was cool though.
I want to follow up on what you just said. Actually, attached to the next agenda item, if we can go on to the next one.
Okay, yeah, let's go on to the next one. What is the next one? Plans?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's
I can't.
yeah. Yeah, so
There we go.
I just want to I want to say what I think the project, my perception of how the project is going. It's basic. So we make the website and we present the idea as clearly as possible, because before it was just me and I couldn't formulate many of the things, and I feel like you offer a very unique and perspective, and during this process I also reshape the idea so that we can attract more people and people's attention and their support. So yeah, so that's why we're making the website. That's what we will do. So once we finish the website 1.0, we will possibly talk to Nimsys and say, oh, you guys are very good at marketing. Would you like to help us? Even though we disagree with building a utopia, but maybe you guys can also poke some holes in our project. So yeah, once we have a good website, we can do that. Also, we can talk to Singularity TV, say, hey, would you like to support us with partnership and funding? And then at the same time, maybe more people will see what we are doing, and they will understand, and they will criticize us, offer us feedback, and maybe we don't even have to build the prototype or ourselves, and it's an open future. So and I feel the next best thing to do is to build a website and figure out what we can do from there. And if everything goes well, the best case scenario is we go to Oakland and keep working on this. And
Yeah, I think that's good. Should we? I don't see any more agenda items for our tactical meeting. So should we go to the freeform?
Yes, please. Okay, freeform. All right. So the first one, I wanted to ask about your plan, but now I'm kind of more clear. Yeah, we can leave it for the last one when we figure out when we want to meet next. So next, yeah, I just want to say more about Jordan Peterson. Yeah, his YouTube videos have helped me tremendously in the last 2 weeks, and he also in another video he mentioned the art of motorcycle maintenance, which the book that you have been reading, and in that video he said we can actually make qualitative distinction on what's good and bad, and that's one of the things that has always bothered me in the past. It's impossible for me to tell which people are suitable for a particular project and not. And after following his lectures, it's more clear for me. So it's evaluate people, evaluate projects, and it just opened my eyes. And also in the next video, he said, the next video is about. The title is Jordan in complete tears in talking about the lack of encouragement in society, because like he said, how do we know what kind of people we should befriend? So true friends are those that we can go to when we are in need or in trouble, and even truer friends are those people we can go to when we succeed. That's a test of so
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming our society that we kind of become very jealous if our friends do better than us, and that's why I feel like the society needs more encouragement, and Action Me Away will help that. It creates this positive thing that maybe propagates from us and radiates outwards. So and yeah, maybe when we finish our website, I'll definitely try to connect with him, because I saw him endorsing other YouTubers, YouTube channels on helping people. Maybe he will also endorse us. and offer some valuable criticism even, so to avoid pitfalls. So
that's one of the things I think is really kind of, we have, I don't know what the word is for this, but almost the opposite of encouragement with kind of like the social media sort of barrage of, like, you know, Instagram, like people living better than you. So people are constantly looking at that and seeing like, oh, you know, like my life is nothing. These people have everything. So it's almost like the opposite of encouragement, whatever that would be. It's like just showing you that, you know. So we have this kind of barrage of that in society, and so I don't know if we can find a way to sort of turn that against itself, but if we can use this project to be kind of an antidote to that kind of like trying to keep up with other people and constantly feeling like you're failing because you're sitting on Instagram, that would be good.
It's interesting you said the word antidote, because I'm reading Professor Peterson's book called 12 Rules for Life, an Antidote for Chaos. So okay. Then I've seen that book in Barnes and Noble, but I didn't know that. I didn't remember the name, Jordan Peterson. But I've seen that book, and I think I probably flipped through it. I did flip through it. So it's very
now I know who we're talking about.
And you mentioned, you know, social media and how people compare themselves against others. And in this book, there's one among the 12 rules is that we should compare ourselves to who we were yesterday rather than else today. That pretty much aligns with what you said. It's about social media. It's like I feel like social media is just this sickness, or, you know, the symptoms of our society that's kind of plaguing us. And we're going to go and dig into the source code and figure out what's really going on down there. So and maybe we're just daydreaming and offering something completely useless, but you know, it's good to reach out to more people to kind of either validate or so
the also the art of motorcycle maintenance, I was thinking it's the idea of quality is very big in that in that book. So it's like the idea that you actually can't say what quality is, but you know it when you see it, and that there is, you know, there is good and bad in everything. So
it's a good point.
It's a really good book. It's a great book. I love it.
If they have audiobook, I'll listen to it.
Okay.
Take a look maybe. Okay. So next I want to ask you, because it's one of the things I'm always afraid, and I think if I follow Jordan Peterson's one of his advice, you know, basically people, it's one of my flaws, because before I'm always afraid to say something because I think it's taking a risk. But now that he said actually not saying something is also taking a huge risk. I'm messed up. I'm fucked one way or the other, and I'd rather to take the risk for saying it. I want to ask you, what are your criteria? What are your personal criteria to invest in project action, if you ever want to do so in the future?
Okay. What do you mean by invest?
Say work on this and not get paid, but rather, you know, just like the things I'm doing myself. Just work on this, have a promise that you'll get paid in the future rather than getting paid right now. So because I realized, I just want to know how you evaluate projects and how you set up your income, passive income, or, you know, if you are doing that.
Okay. I guess the way that's a really good question. I tend to have a lot of a lot of things things that I'm thinking about that are kind of like far in the future. So my tendency actually is to kind of like be optimistic about things. So so I've had to learn how to temper that a bit. Yeah, I think like for me personally, for this project, if I'm seeing it as like a potential source of future passive income, we would have to get to a point where you know, where I can sort of clearly see the course to getting to that point, and then I would be able to put like a probability on it, like how likely do I think that happen. So and then you know, what I would want to spend in terms of time and all that would depend on the probability that I think that there is of it happening and the reward. But so it's kind of like a cost benefit thing at that point.
Yep.
At this point, it's kind of like it's too early for that calculation to even happen, because it's like the path is not clear and it could go anyway. So yeah, so I think that's sort of what would have to happen. But,
sounds good. So that means, suppose if we have more investors, more highly qualified people working with us, and also a product and users, then and when we start to see how it generates revenue, and we can kind of project whether we'll have a positive return on our investment. That's the point where you think you want to get to at that point.
yeah, I mean, I think not necessarily all of those things you just mentioned, but for me, like the key one would be having a roadmap to revenue. If we decide that we're going for revenue, if we decide we're going to do it, you know, which we still could at this point, like decide that we're going to do it more as a nonprofit or as a charity or something like that. In which case, you know, I still might decide to invest my time on that basis if I was comfortable doing that. But if we're doing it as a revenue generation, then there needs to be like a roadmap to that. And then, of course, having investors helps, but it's no guarantee. So, you know, investors to me, like they help extend your runway, but they can't help you find. I mean, they can, you know, maybe point you in the right direction, but there's no. It's not necessarily more likely to work when you have investors. It's just so. I mean, a lot depends on the investors and then, but I think for me, that of the things you mentioned, having users would be an important one, and having, you know, like a roadmap to revenue, even if it's not generating revenue yet. Obviously, generating revenue is kind of the holy grail of validation of your business model. But sometimes, you know, you can see that it's going that way even before it gets there. So.
Okay. So my current idea about the revenue generation and whether it's a non-profit or for-profit, maybe I'm unclear on the idea of non-profit versus for-profit. I think this project would generate revenue per use case. So a small amount like Ether, if we set it up on Ethereum, will come to the project when people use actions. And because if we set it up as non-profit, which we probably should, then we have to adjust the revenue stream so that we don't over focus on like revenue generation. If we are doing really well, then we have to attenuate the revenue part of the project, and you know, so that's where that's how I see it. And yeah, and also on building the product, it's tied to how we are going to build up the prototype and how we set up the referral mechanism, because that's directly tied to how we generate revenue and get more users. So, and also how we authenticate user accounts, and we should talk more about that, and possibly after the website. So, well, I have some ideas which I can offer and for you to examine. So.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. Whenever you want to share, that would
or we can talk about it now.
Sure.
Okay, so okay, yeah. So I'm thinking if we can build the prototype in such a way that, so for example, it starts from you and me, our individual Actiom account, and we can say to go to our friends and family, say, hey, thank you for what you did in the past for me. It's a sincere appreciation of what you did. And we say, here's an action, but you don't have an account. And if you sign up with us, then that action will get into your account. And if we do the kind of tree structure referral way, we can track the accounts and figure out which accounts are good and which accounts are malicious. So we can manually deactivate the malicious account and all the tree that follows it. So if we invite a friend into Actiom and he sets up a fake account, which invites more bots, then we can just delete that fake account and with all its fake, all the things that follow with it. So in a way, we can ensure a healthy system in that way. That's one way to solve the problem. Of course, there are other solutions such as the project we looked at a while ago. They have this social validation. That's also another way to do it. But that's harder. That one is harder because it doesn't give people incentive to join the system. If we use the referral system, with the referral system, why there are many Ponzi schemes that use the referral system, because the referral system is a very strong system if it's a really good thing, and if people tell each other about it. It's a terrible weapon, or it's a terrible tool if it's a Ponzi scheme. So I think there's a certain value in the referral system, and and if people invite other accounts which add value to this system, if people invite other authentic accounts that add value to the system, in a way we can set up we can say that this account is unique and authentic, because it's one of the criteria to determine whether an account is fake or authentic. So it's also we need to think more about the system, how design the system and generate revenue. And
Yeah, one of the things I've been thinking about is like Bitcoin and Ethereum, how these spread. So like with Bitcoin, the motivation was that people that got in like the first 5 people or whatever were just thought, this is a cool technological idea, let's play with it. Yeah. And then at a certain point, some people thought, hey, like this thing sort of reached a certain sort of critical mass where people thought these things might actually be worth something. Yeah. And then at that point, it was a gold rush. Yeah. Where everybody that got in at that point thought, hey, I can start mining Bitcoin and actually make money by my spare CPU cycles. And then it blew up. And then it became like, well, now you can't make money using your CPU cycles anymore. Yeah. You need like a specialized miner, and access to cheap electricity. Yeah. So I think it passed the point where people realized they could make money on it, and then it went to the point where ordinary people can't make money on it anymore. But by that time, it had grown enough that it was already a juggernaut. It had its own momentum. Yeah. So that's that's basically the greed motive was the point that it went viral. Yeah. But you couldn't have gotten to the greed motive unless there was already some sort of there where it was already starting to catch on within a group. So it's hard to sort of plan that sort of thing. Yes. Especially once it's already happened. Yeah. And then there's like about referrals. Ponzi are an example, and that's the greed motive again. There's also multi-level marketing, which is the same kind of pyramid structure. And basically, multi-level marketing is related to a Ponzi scheme, but with something else in front of it. So they can be more or less legal in different countries, but the idea of a multi-level marketing scheme is basically that people get into it because they are hoping that they can get rich through it. So, and the people that get in at the beginning, like if you were like the first distributor in your state, or you might actually get rich by it because there are a lot of other people who are going to join. But very quickly that sort of saturates, and then you reach the point where the people that get in on it are now like paying $1,000 for a setup kit or whatever to become an Amway distributor, and then they get some soap and you know, and the right to sign up more people, but there aren't that many more people to sign up. So it's just like a Ponzi scheme. It reaches the bottom of the pyramid, and there's nobody below that for it to keep going, and then those people are kind of out. So and I don't know if there's probably some connection to Bitcoin there. I'm not sure what it is, but if you know, if we're trying to like look at ways to grow, I think you know, the greed motive has been a powerful one, but to see how that really applies to what we're doing, because we're not giving people the ability to get rich by signing up other people. I think it's probably, you know, better that we're not doing that, because we don't want to be like a multi-level marketing or a Ponzi scheme, because if we do that, then there is going to be a bottom level where people get left holding the bag. But on the other hand, there is the possibility of, in some cases, like you can actually give people some sort of other reward for signing people up. Like, you know, Dropbox gives you a free 10 gigabytes or whatever it is if you know, sign up your friends. So there are things like that where you're giving people something, but nobody's like out there on the street, like, you know, signing people up on Dropbox to get rich. They know it's not going to work. So you know, if we could strike a balance kind of like that, that might be one way to do it.
That's a good point. Yeah, there will need to be a balance. And Ponzi schemes and the pyramid schemes, their incentive is really is the ownership idea. So they're still based on ownership idea, and this actually it shouldn't really use the ownership idea to lure people onto the platform. It's actually testing its own hypothesis when it gets more users. It's testing whether people really want to use it for its own benefit, for the Actiom's own benefit. So when, for example, if I invite you to join Actiom, I'm actually have to sincerely think that what you did in the past have helped me. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother to kind of invite you. And if you get on the network, the network rewards me in a way that it shows the history of what I did. Like, it shows that you joined the system because I invited you. So it's also a kind of secondary reputation, but we don't really incorporate that into calculating people's worth. You know, it just third parties, they can use this data to figure out who are more valuable and not. But it's just we're just building the ground data stream for people to interpret on, and it could work. And at the same time, if we use the referral system, we can at the beginning grow. What's the word? We can test our system maybe and see how we can improve it more easily or slower, so that if it explodes, we are better prepared, rather than if we just go out and market to 1 million people. Then if it's not well built, it's kind of, the system kind of grows on itself. It's like an organism that grows. So it's
yeah, I think I don't know if it's what you mean, but one of the things that reminds me of is like Gmail. So because when Gmail was started out, it was referral only. So they would give you invites, which meant they could control the speed at which they added people.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah. So that would be a good way to do it. Maybe it depends on the technical aspect. So.
Yeah, it gives us a way to control the growth by, you know, we can say, okay, you can invite 2 more people, and then it grows. But we can still say, okay, we're not ready for 1 million more people. So.
Yeah. And it could be, I wonder how because at the beginning it's very difficult, I suppose. Yeah, for Gmail, it works very similar to Actiom because at the beginning we don't have everyone in the system. So the people that invite each other, they already know each other and communicate with each other. So they will use Gmail for that purpose. And for Actiom,
well, the thing about I mean, there's two things about Gmail that are different. Like one is that they didn't have the bootstrapping problem because it was email, so you could already email anybody else.
Yeah.
Which we won't have. And the other about it was that Google was already super famous at that time. So as soon as Gmail was announced, there's like everybody was like, "Oh, I want it." Like Google is doing email, like sign me up.
Yeah.
And then it was like, "Oh shoot, I can't sign up. I have to wait for somebody to invite me."
Yeah.
So it created this sort of sense of like everybody wanted it, but they couldn't. So it's like, oh, I really, 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 really want it. So that worked in their favor.
Yeah.
And then after that, they did have to grow quickly because I think if it stayed at that state, then people would have said, it's not worth the wait.
That's a good point.
So the pressure was still on them a little bit, but they could control the technical aspect and not like have their server crash on day 3, which is what would have happened.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. I think we can solve the marketing issue if we really approach some people, such as Professor Peterson. If he thinks that it's valuable, he will very likely tell others. So it's we'll see how it goes. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like there's always the early adopters. If we can get like the 2 or 3, if we could get like the 2 or 3 active users, hopefully like not you and me, 2 and 3 other people, then we will have like enough to sort of start an experiment with a prototype and see like, is this working? And at that point already, once you have like 2 or 3 active users, because it's something, I think it's something completely, it's not really like anything.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I think that probably what usually happens with new things is that people use it in a way that you didn't it changes. It doesn't, you can't predict it. So once we see some of that, then we might see how to, and then it might start to like go out step by step from there.
Yeah. That sounds good. Yes. Cool.
So.
All right. Well, that's okay. This is clear for me. It's both clear and unclear. So that's kind of the midline between chaos and order.
Yeah.
To be okay. All right. Next item is. Oh yeah. What are your next plans, and when do you think we should meet? I feel like we can wait a little bit and to meet next. So.
Yeah, I think we can meet a little bit. I want to update more things on the website that I've collected from you, the information that I have, and then I'll be making travel plans again. So, like I said, maybe at the end of this week, at the earliest, but I think probably more likely next week. And then I'm also considering maybe going to Shanghai in July.
Wow.
But I'm not sure. But if it's just a possibility, so it would be nice to spend some time in Shanghai again. So it's been a while.
Yeah. Shanghai,
and I miss it. Yeah. I thank you.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so I'll let you know also on that when things firm up. But probably next week I'll be heading to San Francisco again, maybe for a short trip.
Okay, so let's we can communicate on email. I think email works well for us. And when do you plan to move into Oakland, if you decide to?
I'm not sure. I'm still talking to this company, so we'll see what goes on with them. I think they're kind of aggressively, but they have different teams that are hiring, so I may end up like talking to several different teams.
Okay.
So this could take more time, and of course you know, it may not work out, but I think it has a high probability of working out. So I still like the company, so that's a good sign. So.
Cool. So it's are we looking at weeks or months or 2 or 3 months?
Weeks at the worst. So yeah,
that's good. Okay.
Should get a decision with them one way or the other in a couple of weeks, I would hope, maybe sooner. So.
Okay, cool. I'm already renting out my Shanghai apartment, and I'll come back with my parents for the transition phase and figure out how to settle or live in Oakland. It will be quite interesting. Yeah, America again. Yeah. I miss that country. So
America welcomes you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Let's keep let's keep talking on email then and figure out.
Okay.
Meet next. All right.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good morning.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.